Hello, world, and welcome to Owlbear Odysseys. I am professional hoodie and beanie enthusiast JT East Thread. Joining me, as always, is professional rules lawyer Shane Shanlakatakatara.
Is that cultural appropriation?
It might be. And also professional Eminem impersonator Marshall Not Mathers.
No, it's Marshall Not Matters.
That's also accurate. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to kick off with the tier maker of the leftover races.
Yeah,
that sounds rude.
we've got
we need to come up with a better way to refer to them other than the leftovers. I mean, there's some good ones in here. They're not just the leftovers.
Yeah.
There are good ones.
If you can't tell and you didn't look at the thumbnail or read the title, we are finishing our tier list of every D&D race. We have 3 other videos up on the channel going through the Player's Handbook and Monsters of the Multiverse. Today we're covering everything else, which is why Marshall calls it the leftovers. I prefer to call them the special ones. So we're going to jump into our tier list now. We've got...
Hey, leftovers are real tasty, so I'm giving them a compliment.
But we've got 17 races to get through, so let's jump into it. Marshall, tell us about the Kender.
Kender, I say that they're just wannabe elves. I'm not a big fan of them.
Marshall, they're small.
I know, they're small, but
they're
like
just
elves.
halflings with a little bit of... They're brave halflings with a slight twist.
Okay, that might be... You're not
wrong.
And
they lose the thing that makes halflings so good.
True. So they have 3 abilities, just Fearless, Kender Aptitude, and Taunt. They can kind of mess with people during combat, flustering other creatures, and they get a couple extra skills, like most races do, and they can make it to where they can avoid or end being frightened. Those are all 3 big things about the Kender. They don't feel really special. They don't feel unique. So I'm not a big fan of them.
I think the only thing that makes them special is that their fearless ability allows them to just choose to succeed on a saving throw once per long rest against frightened, but still that's still a fairly unique thing, whereas everything else they have is not all that unique because taunt isn't that great. But that fearless ability is pretty good, you know, if you're doing something like fighting a dragon, which is probably why they came out in Dragonlance. But at the same time, is, you know, if you have a level 10 paladin in your party, that character's got RF courage. You probably don't really need it, you know.
Yeah, it's situational, but it is good when it comes up. I think I agree with you, Marshall. The Kender they feel really uninspired. And on this list, we're going to be dealing with a lot of really fun and creative races. Mm-hmm. And the Kender are just kind of lacking in comparison. I don't think they're bad, but I don't even necessarily think they're middle of the road. Like I would say maybe low B.
Oh, whoa, that's much higher than I thought. I was going to say C.
Nah, I'm going B as well. Just because I do... as much as I agree that they're pretty uninspired and honestly kind of a lazy attempt from WotC to just push out another race.
Call out post.
The fact that they can choose to succeed against being frightened, that is a very unique thing and a cool thing if situational. So they get that bonus going for them in my eyes.
And I feel like the creativity of the race should be something that buffs a race. So, like, we shouldn't necessarily take away points for them being boring. We should just assign points for them being interesting.
Okay, that's fair. I was taking away things from them feeling uninspired.
I think that's a fair place to put Kender. So Shane, why don't you start us off with Astral Elf?
Sure. You want to play an elf, but like from space? Then Astral Elf is for you. Being one of the new elf things, they have a racial teleportation, because apparently that's something they decided that all elves can do now. And they get an extra cantrip of their choice, and obviously they don't have to sleep because they trance like all the other elves. I think these guys are good, but not great.
Yeah, the Astral Elves, they're good. They're okay. Their teleporting isn't as good as the Shadar Kai or the Eladrin. I still think they're okay. I would say like bottom A tier in my opinion, because bonus action teleporting is always good. Always.
Yeah, I mean, like racial teleportation, can't discount that just because there are people who do it better. So I'd agree with A. My issue with Astral Elf is, again, they just feel kind of boring. It's just an elf, but a little spacey.
Yeah, and their lore is that they live forever, which that's what most elves already do.
Yeah. I mean, I do
most
that.
elves just live for centuries. Big difference.
Huge difference. Whereas in the dimension that the Astral Elves live, they live for infinity until they go into normal planes, and then time starts again for them. And they can't have children because they're in a plane where time doesn't pass. But that's their lore.
So basically,
theoretically,
everything you just said is about the plane they live in and not about them.
Yeah. But that's what's in their racial stuff.
So eventually we will run out of Astral Elves. They are an endangered species.
That's true.
And I think the world will be a better place because we'll have less elf races. Autonomes.
My word.
We finally get to a cool one. It feels weird doing Autonomes before Warforged, right?
True.
Autonomes, I think, are probably the best one we've looked at so far. You can read their abilities and see all the good things they can do. Shane's already put them in S.
We already know where it's going.
Well, I was about to say that I don't know if they're quite S, but they're definitely above Astral
If you convince us to bring it down, I'll move it then.
I don't care enough to try. If y'all are both in favor of S, I will agree with it.
I think if you're looking at all of the races in totality, it's not like one of the top races, like top like 3 or 4 or whatever. But I think if you're looking at this list, they're pretty much the top.
Completely agree.
They've got plenty of abilities that are just pretty good on their own, and like all together, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
One thing that the Autonomes do get is they just get a passive guidance equal to their proficiency bonus, which is pretty good.
Well, only they can use, and it's better than guidance for them because it's not just an ability check; it's ability check, saving throw, I believe, or attack roll.
Or attack roll. Yeah.
Yeah, build for success is about the versatility, not the power of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can use it whenever you need to, it's really useful.
I currently play an Autonome character in one of my games, and every time I use build for success, I like to say I'm just built different.
I like it.
All right.
And always a good thing. Always a good thing is the innate armor casing. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just be able to have armor.
Yeah. I think Shane summed it up best. It's just a lot of little abilities. Marshall, talk about Giff. Go. Faster.
Giff.
Go.
Cool.
Ah! That doesn't help. You're wasting time.
Marshall! I've got 5 minutes before I have to leave.
Okay. Giff are real dope. They're just big old hippo people, and everyone loves a hippo.
No.
I like them.
They're not just big hippo people. They're big hippo people with guns.
With guns. They are just really good at firearms for some reason because, hippos equal guns. That's just what all hippos can do. They're good with guns.
We all learned this in kindergarten. Hippopotamuses are firearm lovers. They founded the NRA. They all vote Republican.
All right.
And they're also able to do extra force damage whenever they make an attack, equal to their proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Just extra damage and its force. Always strong. So
I will say, Marshall, you're drawing attention to Astral Spark, which is neat, but Firearms Mastery, being able to attack with a firearm at long distance without disadvantage, that's baller.
Also,
this is the best sniper race in the game.
yeah, also getting to ignore the loading property is very good. I mean, if you're a gunslinger fighter, you get that, and if you can take the gunner feat to get that anyway.
Yeah, but this saves you having to take those steps.
All right. Apparently, we love it. Do I have? Okay, hold on. Yeah, do I have any argument for putting it here or against?
Not at all.
Here?
It's above everyone, also because the good old Giff versus Giff debate.
Oh yeah, that's an part of their lore.
Racial lore
is that they have essentially a race war going on about if it's pronounced Giff or Giff.
And if you think it's Giff, fight me.
You are
if you think it's Giff, you by law have to pronounce it Graphics.
Everyone knows that the G in Giff stands for graphical, and I am talking about the hippos. Everyone knows it's graphical interface format.
Yeah. But yeah, GIF are very neat. It's another one that they had fun. When they were making Spelljammer, apart from Astral Elves, they had fun. What?
I just wanted to ruin that thing.
This is so bad.
Did you say Starjammer?
I did.
Why am I?
It's Spelljammer. It's Spelljammer.
All right. Well, Shane, talk about Hadozi.
All right. Well, there's some controversy things that we're just not going to talk about. So basically, they're little monkey adjacent people with some little gliding things, and that's fun. There's not a lot to say about Hadozi. They're relatively simple.
Yeah.
They can pick up things with their feet.
Yeah.
Which is
as a bonus action.
I think they're not bad, but they are a little bland.
Yeah, the fact that they're so simple, it does lend to them probably getting B tier above Kender. I feel like they just had a bowl with animals in it and a bowl with neat tricks in it, and just picked one out of each for Spelljammer races. It's hippos and guns. Yeah, let's make it.
But moving on from that, we got a really cool race. I really like the Plasmoids.
If you want to play an ooze, this is the only playable race that has creature type of ooze.
Yeah. Plasmoids are neat. There's a lot of novelty to them. There's no other race like Plasmoids. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that alone has to count for something. They've also got 2 resistances to 2 relatively uncommon damage types. Mm-hmm. So it's not making the biggest difference, but between that and Shape Self, there's, like I said, there's a lot of novelty to these guys.
The fact that Amorphous allows them to squeeze through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide is more than a little ridiculous, but also kind of cool.
It is really cool. I also really like Shape Self, just being able to turn into something and change the way you look. Right. You can do a bunch of shenanigans with that.
I have a feeling we're moving this top of B. Is that what we're thinking?
I was thinking A.
I was thinking A too. Bottom A.
All right.
Because we've mentioned in the past that if you play a flying race, you kind of force the DM to build the campaign around that. And Plasmoids with their Shape Self is very similar. DM can't put y'all in a cage because you're just getting out. If there's any trapping involved, the DM has to be really intentional about making it effective against a Plasmoid. Marshall's going to talk about Thri-Kreen.
Thri-Kreen, also a really cool race. One of the few I think this actually might be the only monstrosity race.
I think it is.
They're just throwing new creature types into existence.
Fun stuff.
This is power scale.
Thri-Kreen, they can talk telepathically.
Sorry.
They have tiny little arms, and they have an extra innate armor. But they also blend into their surrounding, which is really cool. I just really thematically like Thri-Kreen. I think it's really cool to just be holding a bunch of weapons.
Yeah, we've
But
talked about before the secondary arms ability. Like, it's very cool to think of your character having these extra arms, but also it's kind of like it's not really very good. It's just you have them, and they can do a few things, but it's not like, if it really acted as if you had another set of, like, a real full other set of arms, then it would just be broken.
Yeah.
One thing that it does pretty well is like hand crossbows. Like, cool. Yeah, do stuff with hand crossbows, but that would be about it.
Yeah, D&D as a game is not meant to handle extra arms, and so when you add it in, it's more flavor than anything.
Yeah.
I don't.
So
I think I've unlocked.
bottom B.
I'm sorry, Marshall.
Sorry.
You're fine. I think I've unlocked an opinion on Thri-kreen because I didn't care about them before, and I think I care about them less now.
Oh.
Like, I think I dislike them a little bit. They're just a little boring.
I mean, they're
they're
psychic bug people. That's interesting.
Cool.
That's neat, but again, it's like they just drew bug out of a hat and psychic out of another one. I don't know. These just seem
so where are you thinking?
More phoned in.
I was thinking above Kender still.
I can get on board with that.
I probably would put him above Odysseys, but do you guys think below Odysseys?
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to convince JT for that, but if I could get you to be above Odysseys, I'm down for that.
All right, JT.
I can live with it. I can live with it.
No, you're overruled. You're very angry about this.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I quit. Shane, you want to start us off with Owlin?
No, but I'll do it anyway.
Okay.
There's not a lot to say here. I said it before in one of our other race videos. If they give a race the ability to fly, you can't give it much else because flying is that good. And this is a good opportunity. They can fly, they get proficiency in stealth, which you can change if you want because of Tasha's rules, and they get 120 feet of dark vision. That's it. But that's good because they can fly, and flying is very good.
Is this flight better than Astral Elf teleportation becomes the question then?
Probably. Because
I would say
limited.
Yes.
So
because flight is always there.
I agree. I just want to know y'all's opinions on it.
Flying is always good.
That takes us to Leonin. If you're one of the 6 people who regularly watches our campaign, Heartwood Heist, you'll know that this is a race that's very near and dear to my heart. My favorite buff boy, Beef Iron Pelt, is a Leonin. That being said, I don't think we can put him too high here.
No,
I agree.
They really
like
don't have
they're
anything that's
super
very good.
fun.
It hurts, but they're not great.
Yeah, we have talked ad nauseum in the past about how natural weapons are just kind of pointless. Hunter's Instinct means nothing. Like, an extra proficiency is not, like, that's not doing anything. And Daunting Roar, it's fine, but it's, again, I've said this in the past, again, it's a bonus action that if you have any other bonus action, that's a better option.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is it realistically probably should be an F, but we're not going to because Beef Iron Pelt has our hearts, so he at least makes it to C.
So the ability that y'all don't know about is that Leonins also have this ability called Paw of Silence.
That's true.
Where
that's only Beef. That's a Beef thing.
Well, any Leonin that trains under Beef can master it.
It's true.
And if you want to learn
that your Leonin character trained at the Ascendant Dragon with Beef.
And if you want to understand any of that, go watch Heartwood Heist. There's a whole, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a whole playlist of all of our sessions. And if you're watching this on Twitch, thank you. Go to YouTube. There's a whole playlist of our sessions.
Yeah. They do have 35 feet of movement, but...
No, we're moving on.
Yeah, we're
moving on.
It's over.
Marshall, why don't you move 35 feet forward to Kalashtar and talk about those?
Kalashtar. Telepathic elves. Woo! I know. That's how what I feel like.
They might as well.
They don't even have round ears or pointy ears. They're just humans but psychic.
You know how I
There's
feel.
nothing about them that makes them elf-like.
Don't they live longer?
Oh
no, they mature as
no, they have similar lifespans.
Okay,
to humans.
so telepathic humans. My bad. They can connect people with their mind. They can sever dreams. Those are their two abilities. They have resistance from psychic damage.
They can't sever dreams. They are severed from dreams.
They
don't dream.
Yeah, that's not what that ability does.
It is very. I love the flavor of this race because it feels like one of the more in depth in that sense that it's there's this whole another part of themselves that's like a separate creature or a separate spirit in them.
Yeah, they're like spirit.
That's really cool. Severed from dreams is just weird. Like I get it, but it's like you still sleep, so it's not trance where you can't be put to sleep. You can be put to sleep, but you can't be forced to dream because you don't dream. And it's like that's so niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Kalishtar are a really neat race in concept. I don't think they're done very well.
Yeah.
Like, for all practical purposes, this is just you're playing Professor X with 30 more feet of walking speed. They're not...
Jeez.
Like, it feels like a very uninspired application of a psychic human race. Yeah. So...
I do really like Dual Mind. It's very good. They have advantage on all wisdom saving throws. That's very good. But also other races get similar and better things.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see that. Resistance to psychic damage is alright.
Yeah, if you're trying to make your bear barbarian who can be resistant to everything, this is one of the options, but it's not like it's the only one.
Yeah,
I feel like practically they go between Kender and Leonin. I think can we maybe boost them up maybe between Thri-kreen and Hidozi because of the cool lore that they have?
Yeah,
with their cool flavor, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to talk about Warforged for a second. And I'm going to level with y'all. I used to think Warforged were a lot cooler than they were, or better than they were. And then I actually read their abilities, and they're so fine. I have no complaints, but they're almost too fair. They don't really have anything that great. Constructed Resilience is very nice, but it's also all pretty niche stuff. It's nothing that's going to be turning the tide in a fight. Integrated Protection, again, +1 bonus to AC, that's never going to be a bad thing. But when you compare it to abilities that other races have, like racial teleportation or flight, getting the ability of a Cloak of Protection feels bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean the Sentry's Rest, the ability that they don't have to sleep, and instead of when they long rest, they stay conscious. That's really good, but multiple things get that or something similar to it. So it's kind of meh.
Their specialized design is also now moot because of Tasha's.
All right. So it sounds like we're all thinking, if we're just looking at mechanics, it's pretty middle of the road. But also, it's the original, I want to play a cool robot dude race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can put it a little higher.
Robot.
What are you guys thinking?
I would say above Kender.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere in high B maybe.
Yeah. I'm here for here because the nostalgia cool factor.
Yeah. I don't think that they're better than Thri-kreen, but I want them to be, so let's put them there.
Yeah.
Some cool things is you could do a lot of flavor things with a game with them, just building up your Warforged throughout a game.
Yeah. Marshall, do you want to talk about Verdan?
Sure.
Set yourself up for failure because I hate these guys. I'm coming off real aggressive this recording.
That is true.
I've just been bland for this session. This one. Verdan, yeah, they're cool. Goblins reflavored?
They're very much like Kender. It feels like they shouldn't really be a separate race, but they are given a few things. They're goblins, but they're a little psychic, and they're goblins, but they've got a little bit of the black blood healing. I don't remember all of that which endures lore, but there's that sprinkled in.
Yeah. Hey, Marshall, as the only one of the three of us that cares about Faerun lore, I know I'm opening a Pandora's box here. I just read none of them have yet reached old age. And first off, that's a good sentence. What's going on with these guys?
I honestly don't know too much about them.
Oh my goodness.
I think they're also Acquisitions Incorporated or something.
Yeah.
So
they're not my
it's not as if they're
my favorite.
They just talked you up and you whiffed it so hard.
Well, normally I would.
All right.
But
we do need to talk about the size, though. Who wants to talk about the size?
I'll talk about the size. Verdan are between 3 and 4 feet tall at the start of the, when they're level 1 through 4. When they hit level 5, they get a 2-foot growth spurt and become a medium creature. It's like once they've hit maturity, at any point in the future, they can hit that growth spurt, and just mechanically they've made it level 5. And I don't know if this is like so interesting and unique that I like it, or if this is so convoluted that I hate it. But I know that I have a strong feeling about it one way or the other. I'm just waiting for the coin to flip.
All this makes me think about is Brennan Lee Mulligan's spiel on wizards going to the academy versus going and killing a bunch of people and leveling up.
Yeah.
And it's them, but growing up.
Yeah, if
you don't grow up
and you're tired of being short, just go kill some rats. Eventually, you'll grow 2 feet or more.
Yeah,
it's
pretty silly.
All right,
I feel like
these guys.
Yeah, regardless of if I love or hate the size thing, it is something really unique about them. Maybe I'll be straight, right above Leonin.
Oh, I was gonna.
They are telepathic, and they have slightly better healing from hit dice.
Sorry, I forgot to read this part. They do have advantage on all wisdom and charisma saves. Getting 2 saves racially is really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably somewhere like mid B.
I was gonna say above Kalashtar.
I can get on board with that.
I think having advantage on all wisdom and charisma saving throws, I feel like that's probably high B.
Maybe let's put him above Thrycreen.
I could agree with that.
Yeah,
just because for whatever reason,
cooler than them, so
Yeah. For whatever reason, I've decided to hate Thrycreen. Shane, do you want to talk about Loxodon?
Want is a strong word, but also Loxodons are cool. So yeah, I do. I want to talk about them. They're elephant people. Do I need to keep selling them, or are we good?
Hey, if you want to see a fun elephant person, go see Heartwood Heist. There's a fun.
That's a strong word.
Yeah.
Elephant investigator.
He brought out a very bad moment in time, so I don't know if we like him.
Here's the problem, Shane. Leonin are lion people, which is also really cool, and they're bad, so you might have to keep selling it.
Well, they do have a natural armor, which is very common apparent now. Yeah. But their natural armor is 12 plus con modifier, which immediately for me that goes, wow, you should play a sorcerer and be a Loxodon, because then you only need charisma and con. They also have a trunk. It's kind of like the extra arms Thrycreen have. It can do some extra things, but probably not as much as the actual trunk probably should be able to. But it's still cool.
I think the uniqueness of their natural armor, it's not necessarily inherently better than other natural armors, but it lends to different types of builds. So I like the little bit of flexibility you get there.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than
and the
that,
trunk is pretty cool.
I was about to say I'm not sold on the trunk.
The trunk is cool. It's like a very crappy mage hand.
It's cool, but it's exactly what Shane said. It's the same thing with the secondary arms.
Yeah.
They can't treat it like an actual like third arm.
Mhm.
Otherwise it gets broken. So like to me, all Loxodon have in my mind is the natural armor. Like there's nothing else really that's a selling point
They
here.
do also have the Loxodon Serenity advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. That's decent.
Yeah, but that's fine, but that's not a selling point to me. That's an add-on.
They do have keen smell.
Get out of here. Freaking Tanjiro.
That just means if you're playing a Loxodon, you're going to be constantly asking your DM if you can smell for things instead of look for them. And everyone knows that's going to get annoying.
From the DM perspective, which we've been told that we tend to embody, Loxodon are F tier just because of how annoying a Loxodon player would be.
Oh no!
But for what we're actually going for here, I don't know. What do you think, Marshall? Where do you want to put them?
I just like big races. I want exactly, but I'm not gonna say that they're as good as Giff. Obviously,
choose your next words carefully.
I was gonna jokingly say top A tier.
Right,
I choose them more carefully.
I can't do that though. I'd say above Leonin.
I hate this. I hate that Loxodon and Leonin are so low, and Verdant and Kender are in B.
Here's the thing. I don't think either Loxodon or Leonin are bad. They're just not great.
Yeah.
It's not like if you play one of these characters, you're going to be like having a penalty. It's just that you're going to be missing out on some of the crazier things. But if you're a person who enjoys the roleplay aspect, who cares if you can have a fly speed or teleport as a bonus action? If you can be a freaking elephant person and use your trunk to do stuff, that's cool.
I just think about smacking someone with my trunk for intimidation. That's kind of intimidating, and it's kind of cool. I think that's hilarious.
If you go watch Heartwood Heist, like the Leonin character that I play, Beef, consistently like is great in combat, leads to some of the more out there moments in the campaign. Like he moves the plot along. It's not bad. You're just sacrificing playing a better race. Speaking of a better race, Simic Hybrid exists. Now, we talked about these guys beforehand, and I think this section is basically just going to be Marshall trying to pitch them up to S tier, because I really like Simic Hybrid. Let me say that ahead of time. The versatility that you get with all of their different abilities, I love it. I don't think any of the abilities are good enough to land them in S. I would personally put them in A tier, maybe between Astral Elf and Plasmoid. But what do you guys think?
I also enjoy them, and I think they've got some neat little abilities, and it's cool that you get to choose between abilities. And also, a whole character trope is the result of a failed experiment or something like those along those lines. And you can play any race as that, or really you can flavor any class probably that way. But it's literally built into this race. Like that is what they are, by the default. So that's really cool, and I like the abilities.
I think the abilities are really cool. I think that they would be better if they somehow were able to get 3 of those abilities from the first level, the 3 first level choices and the 3 fifth level choices. You're able to get 3 instead of just 2. I would argue for S tier then, but because they only get 2 of them, they're all really good. Not really good, they're good. But they're not. None of them, I think, are really bad. Minus maybe.
None of them are great though.
Yeah,
they're exactly good, but none of them are great.
Yeah,
the only one that I would say is great if you are good at doing a bunch of shenanigans with the mechanics of stuff is the Manta Glide. That can be really cheesy. but it's not insane.
I gotta step in here. First off, I agree, Shane. The lore of the Simic hybrid is really cool. That is probably their selling point to me. Having taken the time to actually look at their 5th level abilities, they all suck. I'm sorry. Grappling appendages are only good for grappling, which is bad. Carapace gives you +1 AC, so it's not bad, but it is pretty mediocre. And Acid Spit is almost never going to be a better option than the actual attack action. So as much as I hate this, I'm changing my answer. I'm dropping Simic Hybrid into B, personally.
They're in B. The question is where in B.
I was saying because of their lore and their fun versatility. I'm not saying it's great. I would say very bottom A tier because of their coolness.
Problem is Warforged are cooler.
Yeah, if we're comparing them realistically, the Warforged abilities are probably slightly better. And I like them better. And so it's hard to say that Simic Hybrid goes above them.
Jeremy Crawford, since we know you're watching, if you want to here's my pitch for making Simic Hybrid better. Change the 5th level abilities to be way more niche. They don't have to be good, but make them very weird abilities. Give us abilities that people are going to look at and wonder how they can make that work.
Manta Glide is one of their best abilities, and it's a 1st level one.
Manta Glide is a good ability if you're a person who wants to pull out wacky combos to abuse the rules, which is not really the way I play the game personally.
And if you can fly, it's pointless. I must say below Verdan.
I'm gonna put them above Verdan because Marshall wants them higher. I would probably put them near around Kalashtar. I think this is a decent enough compromise. Also, I control the tier maker, so if you guys have a problem with it, deal with it. I know I'm talking over you agreeing with me, but that's because I want to be aggressive right now.
I'll come to North Carolina and make you more agree with me.
Marshall, before you do that, frickin' talk about Vidalkin.
They live pretty long. They got Vidalkin disposition.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
The Vidalkin disposition is really good. Dispassion. Advantage on intelligent dispassion, whatever.
Dispassion.
Yeah. Intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. That's real strong. That's always strong. Then tireless precision. I really liked the idea of just being able to add a D4 to the chosen skill or tool that you roll anytime you make an ability check with that tool or skill. You can make a really good artificer or wizard making arcana checks and other things like that just to improve yourself, just to be a little bit better than other people, and also being a little bit partially amphibious. A bonus?
Yeah. I think Vidalkin are one of those weird races that is kind of it's hard to think of exactly what they're supposed to represent. But the Vidalkin Dispassion, that alone is crazy. It's very good. There are other abilities that other races get, like magic resistance and stuff, or typically like the Kalashtar, where you get maybe advantage on one saving throw. This is advantage on every single intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throw you make. Now, I think there was a D&D Shorts video I saw talking about this, but if you play a Vidalkin Barbarian, when you get to a certain level, I want to say level 3, but that could be wrong. 2 is when you get advantage on dex saves.
Yeah, danger sense.
Yeah, you get advantage on dex saves from that. When you rage, you have advantage on strength saves. You have advantage on every saving throw except for con.
Well, and you have proficiency in strength and con, so
you do.
You're good against any save.
Yeah.
So if you want to be ridiculous, take 2 levels of barbarian and then go into paladin and get the aura. So have advantage on basically every save, and then add your charisma modifier to all of those saves.
I like tireless precision, Marshall. You mentioned that one. I think it's a fun Like, it's never going to be game breaking, but it's unlimited, so it's really fun to have. But Vidalcan Dispassion really is what makes or breaks these guys.
Yeah.
Verdan got into B off the back of having 2 advantages and a little bit of telepathy.
I feel like we probably undersold the Verdan there for the two ability advantages.
Probably.
I'm saying Vidalcan are in A.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably
I agree.
Between Alan and Astral Elf.
That's what I was gonna say.
I agree with that. I think there's a little bit underselling Tireless Precision for the idea, not the idea, depending on your DM and how much they're willing to do things with skill checks and tool checks. I really
like that it lets you be just a little bit better at like one skill. Like if you want to create a person who's like, if you want to create a doctor who is like the best at medicine, then like perhaps you should be a Vidalcan, because then be like a, what is it? Be a Vidalcan, get expertise in it in some way, and then you're basically, how are you going to be better at medicine than that? If you have expertise and you get that extra just racial D4.
Let's talk about Lakatha. Whose turn is it?
I don't know. I'm gonna start talking about them.
I don't think it matters because they're just F tier.
No, okay, they're not though. They are, but they're not, because they're one of the few races that has an actual downside to them, like something that is straight up bad.
Yeah.
Limited to amphibiousness. You need to be submerged at least once every 4 hours to avoid suffocating. That's bad. Now you can be prepared for it. You can have, maybe your DM is like, here's a bag of holding full of water, so you can just take a dip every now and then. Maybe you have like a cart and you keep a tub of water in the cart. You know, there's ways to do it, but it is just a negative. And they also have the natural armor, but their natural armor is 12 plus dex, and there's multiple races that get 13 plus dex. But this isn't crazy good, but it is interesting and fairly unique to them. They have Leviathan Will. You have advantage on saving throws against. Let's count on fingers here. Charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, stunned, or put to sleep.
Oh, you ran out of fingers.
That's decent. Yeah, that's advantage on saving throws against 6 different things.
Yeah,
if you're trying to avoid conditions, perhaps you should be a Lakatha.
That is a pretty cool ability.
But also
it's the main selling point to me.
Every 4 hours, that just sucks. Right, you got to be fully submerged.
I made the case for them, but yeah.
So here's the thing. I want to step in to talk about Lakatha a minute, because if you compare their limited amphibiousness with the Grung's water dependency, it is so objectively worse in multiple ways. Like, their selling point is Leviathan Will, which in and of itself really isn't amazing. It's really cool. I think that's a lot of conditions. Here's the thing. The fact that they are one of the few races to have an overt, obvious downside makes me like them more.
Oh, I like them. I love the idea of Lakatha, but it's hard for me to ever be willing to play one because of that glaring weakness.
The thing
I think I don't like them enough to bring them out of that, because they are just bad.
Yeah.
The thing on my side, if I'm the dungeon master, one of my players wants to play Lakatha or Grung, I'm just going to get rid of those negative abilities because they're dumb.
But that makes them less interesting. I would work with the player to find a solution to it in world. Yeah. Just getting rid of it makes them a boring race.
No, I disagree with that. I think if the player wants that detriment, then sure. If they do, I can work with them. But if they don't, they just like the idea of playing. If you want to play a fish person, like, that's the only fish race.
I mean, you could play a Trident and flavored as being more fishy.
Yeah, you could.
There's a lot of options if you want to be
Yeah.
playing a fish. I don't see. I'm between you two because I don't think there's a problem just taking away with it if that's what you want to do. But also, I would lean towards what JT's saying. I would talk to the player and ensure we have a fun way to make sure that condition's being met.
Yeah. I guess I'm not going to like excommunicate you for taking it away, but in my opinion, if a player comes to me and is like, hey, I really want to play a Lakatha, but I don't want limited amphibiousness, my answer would be, then you're not playing a Lakatha. Like, that is the only thing that makes their race interesting.
I disagree, but I can get where you're coming from.
All right. Grung.
Grung.
One grung above.
Someone needs to do this.
They're cool frogs. They're cool little frogs. Their lore, I don't think it's really good. It's bad. They're not a great race. But
that's racist.
They're racist. They're slavers.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of them.
Racist against them.
But water dependency, we already talked about it. Standing leap, they can jump. Their poisonous skin, that's a pretty cool ability if you want to be an assassin frog dude, and you can coat your weapons and a little bit of the poison. Do some fun stuffs, but that's about it. And then they also have poison immunity. They're cool. I would like to play them. I would say bottom C tier, in my opinion.
F tier for slavery.
I can agree with that.
All right, there we go.
I don't think they have anything that really sells them.
Poisonous skin is pretty strong, though.
I mean, it's not because poison is so resisted, but it is very fun.
They get to add 2d4 poison damage.
You also have to succeed a relatively low DC con save, though.
And that's not tied to anything. That's going to stay 12 forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to stay 12 forever, but one of the things that we've said about some races is, like, any damage boost is a good
Extra damage is extra damage, but this is extra damage that is likely to not happen very often.
I want to be clear. I'm not arguing that poisonous skin is bad. It's fine. It's not good either.
Yeah,
it's neat.
That's where I'm at. With that, we have lineages. We have it up there. We're not actually going to talk about them because they're not really races.
We just have it on here so that you know that we know they exist. We're not going to talk about them.
All right.
Right. Well, I guess that's everything. We had mentioned at one point combining all of our tier lists together at the end. We're not going to do that because that's too much work. Go back and watch our other videos where we've gone through the other books. We make some real wild cases. I looked back at one of them recently, and I disagreed with my own points. So this is all just for fun. We're not trying to be objective. We just want to bring up some points for consideration. If you like Lakatha, play a Lakatha. If you don't like Giff, don't play a Giff. Just play D&D, have fun, and don't be a dick about it.
Yeah. Also, as we said, go check out Heartwood Heist if you haven't seen that already. We've got so many episodes up already. I mean, I would love for you to watch that, pay attention, and with all of your attention, and just be totally absorbed in it. But also, if you want to put it up on the side while you work, I think we'd be pretty entertaining for that too.
Yeah. And if by chance they want to catch the stream, Shane, when could they do that?
Every first, third, and fifth Saturday at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Central Time over on our Twitch channel. And then it'll be up on the following Sunday at 1 Central Time.
Marshall, you got anything you want to add or plug here?
Thank you all for joining in. Go watch our other tier making videos, and as the other said, go watch our live stream of Heartwood Heist. Go check it out. Thank you all for joining in.
Adios, everybody.
All right, see you.